Caleb.
Hello, A Day with Caleb here, and today we will talk about, is Disney resorts, getting in on a Disney resort, is it worth it? Is it worth staying in a Disney resort for the extra money that you pay versus a local Orlando, like a hotel or resort? We'll compare the two, talk about pros and cons of each. Uh, Before I started staying at Disney resorts about 6 years ago, we did stay at resorts when I was younger, 10 or 11. My aunt worked at Disney Cruise Line, so we stayed at some Disney resorts, but it was only a night or two, couple days at most, so we didn't really experience the full Disney resort then. But for the past 5 or 6 years, we have stayed at some of the Disney resorts. We haven't stayed at the fancy ones, obviously. That will change next year, hopefully, coming soon, thanks to our buddy Dave, who is now a DVC member. So hopefully that plan is still in place and we can stay at a nice Disney resort. So let's dive into breaking down pros and cons of staying at a Disney resort and not staying at a Disney resort. So we'll talk about transportation, food, certain things in the Disney resorts that are awesome. Just break it all down for you today, and let's go right in. So we're going to talk about transportation later in the video, but is Disney Resort worth it? My answer is absolutely yes. You are paying a little more versus a standard hotel room, but this is all encompassing. If you want a true Disney experience with the parks, with the resort, this is all inclusive. This keeps you in the magic, keeps you in the fun, and it's just the way to go for me personally. You have to decide that with you and your family. This is an experience. If you want the experience, this is for you. Now, let's talk about some things, and then we'll get to transportation. So this is all encompassing. Once you get onto a Disney resort, that's it. No headaches, no nothing. You're immersed in Disney, and that is super cool. The food is very nice. They have places at the resort where you can eat, which is convenient. You can park your car if you drive, and then you can go on transportation. You can come from the airport and get a ride. We'll talk about that later. But just super convenient. There's stores in there. You can get stuff that you might need for the theme parks, stuff like that. The restaurants, like we said, super nice. And the atmosphere, just everything at the resort, especially stuff like this big foosball thing at the Pop Century, then the Skyliners newly added, which we'll talk about later. Just everything at a Disney resort, totally cool. And if you stay at a resort, you get fast passes 60 days in advance, which is very cool if you're one to go on the big attractions. You need as much time in advance to book those fast pass reservations as possible. And they'll also try and help you book dining reservations at the parks, and the people at the front desk will try everything possible to accommodate you while you are there. Whether that's getting you extra towels, getting a dining reservation, something went wrong, needs to be fixed, they'll go above and beyond, which is a step above the rest of the resorts. So that is cool. And there's pools, there's activities for the kids, there's all kinds of things to do at the resort, let alone the Disney theme parks. So that is cool. Roger Rabbit there. Just love the theming of the resorts. And there's all these activities that you wouldn't think of. They do chalk art, there's like movie screenings for kids, for families, all kind of activities that you can enjoy while you're at the resort. And some people book a couple days extra just to experience the resort, not being at the theme park, just hanging out at the resort, swimming at the pool, doing all the activities. So, in my opinion, staying at a Disney resort, even though it is a little more as far as price, it is totally worth it for the 60 days advance fast pass, for the food, which is good, for the convenience of having everything you need all right there. You don't have to go anywhere else. When you're at the resort, you're in Disney, so that's a neat thing that can't be duplicated. If you want an all-in experience for Disney, you need to stay at a Disney resort. And each resort is themed differently, obviously. This is Pop Century, where we stayed at last time. But now we'll get into talking about transportation. Okay, in the last segment, or the last part there, we briefly talked about the Disney Skyliner, but now we'll talk about transportation as a whole in the Disney Resort. First, we'll talk about Disney's Magical Express. This is in Disneyland and Disney World. If you're flying in, you go on a plane and fly from wherever to Orlando or to Anaheim. There is a bus transportation, Disney's Magical Express, that will take you from the airport to the resort you're staying at. Or even if you're not staying at a Disney resort, you can take it and they will drop you as close to the hotel where you're staying at as possible. for like a $30 fee. We did that in Anaheim. We were staying close enough to where we paid the $30, took the express, and was able to walk to our hotel. So that's really cool, but most advantageous for you if you're flying in. It's a free service. They pick you up from the airport and take you to the resort you're staying at. So that is a plus right there. If you don't like to drive, you want to fly in to Disneyland, Disney World, take the transportation straight to your resort. Don't have to worry about renting a car and all that hassle. Just takes you right to the resort, and then you can go off to the parks. So that kind of segues into our next part, the buses. At the resort, there's buses that will take you to the 4 parks. They'll take you to Disney Springs. They'll take you to the 2 water parks, Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon, and ESPN Wide World of Sports and Disney Springs. Not sure about Disneyland because we didn't stay at a resort because it's so expensive there. This is strictly from Orlando. In fact, I think the rest of the transportation I'll be talking about is for Orlando, Disney World. So the buses are very good, very convenient. You just have to time it. Buses are all about timing. So if you want to go, let's say you want to do a rope drop and you want to get to a park early, beat the crowds, you'll have to plan out your schedule and go to the buses right away. Because early in the morning they'll fill up, there'll be a line, and you have to get on that first bus going out, or else you'll have to wait 30-40 minutes for a bus. That's a downside. The other downside is that they have to accommodate scooters, and usually at your resort or at the theme park there'll be at least 1 if not 2 scooters, and that takes sometimes 30 to 40 minutes to load the scooters on, because they have to lower the van, bring this kind of ramp down, they drive in, they have to buckle the first scooter, second scooter drives in if there's a second one. It's a long mess, lots of waiting, and if you're at the park till close, there's going to be a long line waiting for your resort bus to get back to the resort after the park closes. So that is something to think about. Next, we'll talk about the minivans. Now that is a separate fee. It's like $10 to $15, I believe. I've never done it, but that is something you can call, kind of like a taxi service, and it'll take you anywhere around Disney property. Won't touch on that too much since I'm not as familiar with it. The next thing we'll talk about is the Skyliner. Now that is the newest transportation, and in my opinion, if it's running correctly, the coolest transportation around. We stayed at Pop Century, and we could take the Skyliner to Epcot, we could take it to Hollywood Studios. Just super convenient. It doesn't go to Magic Kingdom or to Animal Kingdom, just the 2 parks. But it's super cool, super convenient, very fast. We would go from Pop Century to Hollywood Studios in like 10-15 minutes, very fast. Epcot about the same as far as time. We did have one delay the first day for like 5 minutes. It wasn't bad. But it could go down for a while if there's some delays. You never know. We never had a big delay when we wrote it, but that is something to take into account. But you just weigh out the options. So at the end of the day, there is loads of transportation options out there for the resort. So that is a big, big bonus for staying at the Disney resort. So hope you enjoyed this kind of video breaking down Disney resorts, if it's worth it, if it's not. Hope you picked up some cool tips and enjoyed the info that I've shared, the knowledge that I've kind of gathered these past 5 or 6 years. It's been fun. It was fun making this and kind of going through those experiences, so it was neat. If you did like it and this info was helpful for you planning out your next trip, hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe down below. We have new content every Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Saturday at 1. And share with a friend who might need this info. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later, and bye.